My wife and I moved from Bainbridge back in '97. And we looked around, we bought this farm we happened to be on a business trip. We were traveling along, and this farm was for sale, and it was beautiful. So we decided, well, let's take a look into it, and about a year later we owned it. And we looked around and said, what are we going to do? And we said, well, what about grapes? And of course, we didn't know much about grapes at all, other than we love to drink wine. But it was a farm, and why not try it? And then I talked with many of the people in the state, and we decided to try an experiment in the vineyard up on the west side of the property. And there we planted 4 grapes. After 3 years or so, everything was growing. So it really worked out pretty well. We have a wonderful site here for growing grapes. It's on a long hill, and it's actually at the headwaters of the Grand River. So Laleure is a winery that grows all its grapes. We're in a state vineyard, and we grow all of our grapes right on the property here in Parkman, Ohio, and we make all the wines here. We don't import anything. We don't bring in juice. We don't bring in materials from other vineyards around the country. I feel that we are producing what Ohio can produce. So a lot of people ask me here at Laleure, how does red wine get red? And it's pretty interesting because all red wine gets its color from the skins. I'm going to show you right now a red wine that's fermenting. This is actually a Cabernet Franc that was just picked earlier this week. And you can see in here, during the fermenting process, the grape skins all come to the surface. But in order to impart color, you need to get those skins down into the fruit, into the juice. And so I take a plunger and do pushing up and down, push those skins down, and we'll do this 4 or 5 times a day to get those skin contact, and you can see a nice red juice in here right now. We'll make Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cabernet Franc, Riesling, and a few hybrids, Chambourcin, which is actually a wonderful French-American hybrid, as well as Vignoles. Right now we're actually in one of the barrel rooms for Laleure, and in this room what's going on is aging. Some of our aged wines are many, many years in oak, some of them just 1 or 2, or sometimes for a Chardonnay much shorter period. But in here we do have wines such as Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Cabernet Franc. We do have wines that are blends, and we have the Three Dog White, and that's a blend of several, it's a very crisp wine, a blend of Vignoles and Bianca. And we have our Three Dog Red, which is a blend of Pinot Noir and Cabernet Franc. And the 3 dogs, well, that is their picture on the label of dogs who have resided at the winery who are no longer with us, but we still remember them well. People ask me often, what is Laleure? Is it a word? It's my grandmother's maiden name. She was a war bride that came over after World War I with my grandfather, who was a soldier in France. So he came over from the US and he brought her back. And so she was also the one that got my wife and I to have a glass of wine every day. And she said, Richard, you must have wine each day. So when people come to the Laleure Vineyards, one of the first things that will happen is they'll probably see Max, our dog. And Max will wander out and he'll often lead you to the small tasting room. But when you come into the tasting room, you'll be greeted by the manager or the tasting room workers, and they'll just have lots of different wines, and it's a very small charge to try a number of them. And then later on, when the people are trying the wines, they might wander into the back room, and we have a large tasting room inside and a pretty large outside patio area from which you can see Pennsylvania actually on a clear day.